Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title, today's video is going to be my fall/autumn TBR, whatever you call it, wherever you're from. I have a big fat 20 books to go through today, and you're probably thinking, that's a little bit ambitious of you, isn't it? But a TBR is just, it's not all of it that I have to read. It's like the books that I'm going to choose from, right? This isn't even going to be including my spooky season reads because I like to have a particular set for October, and I will be doing a separate video on that. So this is kind of just like my September, even though it's like mid-September now, November and even December time, because I feel like December, this still falls into that kind of vibe, but I am also going to be reading a bunch of like Christmas rom-coms, so I don't know what you want from me. Let's keep this intro short and sweet and just get into my TBR. I'm really committed to this whole September, it is autumn thing. I mean, it's warm, but it is what it is. So anyway, let's go back into the books. All right, these are in no particular order at all. I'm just going to take them, show you, talk about it a little bit, pop them away, do that for 20 books. I'm going to start with a stack. So let's go for the first book, which is 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This is actually my book club's book read of the month. That book club isn't really like a book club, but it's more of like a feel free to read along with us, and this is the pick for this month. I have heard so many good things about this in a sense that it's so emotional, but a lot of people are like, yeah, it really tugs on your heartstrings. I believe this is like childhood friends to strangers and maybe lovers. I don't actually know. I haven't looked too far into this just because if a book is going to be sad and something happens that will make me, well, supposedly feel super emotional, I don't want to read into it too much. So we will be reading this actually very soon. Right, next up on the whole BookTok books that supposedly make people bawl their eyes out, we have If He Had Been With Me with Laura Nolan. I'm pretty sure Destiny Sidwell was like bigging this book up and everybody jumped on a bandwagon and everyone said it was worth the hype. I think this is very similar, but in a sense of they're like childhood friends to enemies and then probably lovers. Again, this is another one where everyone was like, oh my god, it's so sad. I don't know why, so I'm just gonna read it. That's basically all I've got to say about this book. I'm probably the last person on this train, but we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I won't lie guys, I tried reading this a couple months ago. I just couldn't get into it, perhaps because it was just giving more like autumn vibes to me, but I think it might be the layout and how freaking small the font is. I've got all 3 books in the trilogy, so I should probably get to reading the first one, right? I think everyone knows by now, but I'm pretty sure this is more YA by the way, but it follows Pip, is that her name? Yeah, Pippa. So I believe she has like a true crime podcast, or she's a big true crime podcast fan, makes her own, and then goes into like investigating this death that happened at their town because she thinks that the person who everyone says done it didn't actually do it. And it's in a weird format of like there's maps, it's a bunch of interviews, and then just regular narration. So let's see what this is about. Okay, next up we have supposedly like one of the nastier books in this TBR, and that is The Deloread by Missouri Williams. I don't think this is dystopian. I don't know if this is dystopian or like what's it called, super historical, like medieval times. I don't really know how to describe it, but I think it's when family loves family in a way that is illegal, that kind of thing. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word, but yeah, I am very intrigued though, because people seem to be giving this like 5-star ratings left, right and center. So I love a weird read, and I love books that kind of feel a bit icky, I'm not gonna lie, because it really pushes me out of my comfort zone. So yeah, let's give this one a go. Next up is a little bit more of a light-hearted, more nice book I guess to read, but it is Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Tales from the Cafe. This is the second installment in what I now know is like so far I think there's 4 books, but this is the second book. I read the first one probably last year as well actually, and that just gave so much like cute, cozy, just I don't know, like that was the mood that it was giving, and I feel like that's perfect for the autumn, and we love a quick read, so I would love to get through to this month hopefully, but November time. But yeah, if you're looking for like an autumnal book but you don't want something too fat and you want something a little bit emotional, then Before the Coffee Gets Cold Unhauled, that whole set is just really good. Next up, we have Tasha Moshfegh's Death in Her Hands. This follows a woman who moves into a town and finds a note where it's saying something like, here's the body of this person, no one will ever know who killed her, I didn't do it, but yeah, here's the body. And then that's pretty much all it gives you. I'm ready to give Tasha Moshfegh another go because she must be worth it to be so hyped up. Like, I do feel like maybe my year of rest and relaxation is just like one of those BookTok books that blew up because of the fact that it was just like, it just blew up. I'm trying to work through the rest of her books, so hopefully we get a better go with this one. Guys, I am so bloody excited to read this. This is definitely the book that I'll be reading next. In fact, I will be doing a reading vlog on this, full spoilers, because I don't know how people do reading vlogs without spoiling it, because what are you talking about? Again, a little bit late to the hype, but it is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I picked this up from the works because it was on sale for like £10 and it's otherwise £20 at Waterstones. And I was like, oh, I don't know, like I'm in an R-ing, but everyone has been like, get Fourth Wing, it will be so worth it. And so here I am with a copy of Fourth Wing. Feel free to laugh at me if I'm absolutely wrong, but as far as I'm concerned, just from picking out little bits of people talking about it all over my bookstagram, it's something to do with dragons and like sex scenes, but it's like Hogwarts. Like that's supposed to, well, that's what I've taken from all the things that I've seen. So yeah, again, another book I don't know much about, but I'm very excited to read. So yeah, I am really excited to start this. I will be starting this after I film this video. Next up, we have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And I think that this is quite a cute way of getting into that whole mystical fantasy, that magical fantasy, rather than like, you know, like this kind of fantasy. The circus arrives without warning. No announcements precede it. It is simply there when yesterday was not. I don't know what the story is, what the plot is, what it's like, literally anything else about it. So we're about to find out. Okay, next up we have Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This I thought was like fantasy, but then people were like, no, it's like horror. I love horror books. I love horror films. I thought that this would be quite a nice spooky-ish read coming up to October, so hopefully I can get into this one soon as well. And I've heard really good things about Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing, so I cannot wait. People say it's super creepy. So I'm pretty sure the main character tries to rescue her cousin who's been married into like this rich socialite but also kind of scary family, and so she like goes on this mission to free her cousin, and then I guess shit hits the fan, and that's all I know. I don't know why that family's scary. I don't know what's so creepy about them, but again, we will find out. Like I said, I am really trying to like Tasha Moshfegh, and I thought that this was another book that people have raved on about, and it is Latvona. All that sticks out for me when it comes to this one is that I'm pretty sure there is breast milk involved, and I don't know what's going on, and not like in a cute baby mother nature doing its thing way, but I think like in a weird way. And that's literally all I know about it. I think this is like a medieval times kind of book. I'm pretty sure this is just one of those weird, quirky, like a little bit icky books again. So maybe we're discovering a theme here. So I'd love to see what this is about, because everyone says it's icky, but everyone seems to give this like a really high rating. So, okay, this book I am so excited about, and it is My Government Means to Kill Me by Rashid Newson. First of all, can we talk about how beautiful this book is? I'm pretty sure this one we follow a young black man from quite a wealthy family go to like New York City to try and make it on his own. He doesn't really have much money on him, and he meets a group of people that basically changed his life forever. This follows like the AIDS movement, and I'm pretty sure that the time that this was supposed to be, yeah, 1980s New York City. It was when AIDS was still very much shunned and not really understood. So I'm really interested to see how they kind of deal with it in this book. So amidst all of like the scary, weird reads that I've got here, I thought it'd be kind of nice to have a palette cleanser, which is a lot more I guess substantial in terms of the content. So yeah. Okay, next up, because I love Unhinged, we have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. First of all, can we, I mean, I've bragged about this book so many times on my channel because this was literally one of my favorite presents of last year, and probably one of my favorite books that I've got in my collection. But yeah, this is the Faber and Faber Liberty London edition of The Bell Jar. It is a semi autobiographical novel on Sylvia Plath's life. It's going to be really interesting to read, I think, because it will deal with us looking into somebody who suffered with mental illness at a time where they didn't know or understand anything about it. So yeah. Okay, next up is an author that I read one of her books last year around this time, and it is one of my favorite books of all time. So I'm hoping that this comes through, because I read another one of her books earlier this year that I just really couldn't vibe with, but I've heard really good things about this, and it is All's Well by Mona Awad. I don't even know how to describe Mona Awad's writing. It's not necessarily just it's not even like really unhinged. I mean, it's a little bit unhinged. It's crazy. It's like no words can genuinely express how I feel about Mona Awad's Bunny. And so when I read 13 Ways of Looking at a Fat Girl and didn't vibe with it, I was really disappointed. But this, I think, is going to be the saving grace. This is based in the world of theatre, and they are doing Shakespeare's Macbeth. Basically, we've got another unhinged female character. So let's see what happens here. I cannot wait, because this gives Bunny, but in a different setting. Bunny was like academia, whereas this is more like theatre, but it's giving parallels, so I'm really excited. Okay, next up we have Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I am so late on this train because everybody has been and gone with the entire series of Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates, but I haven't. I started this and then I really liked it, but I needed to just take a minute so I can really enjoy it, and I wanted to do a reading vlog on this one as well, so I'm probably going to do that. This is the original independently published Magnolia Parks cover that was kindly gifted to me by Jen's Reading Corner on Instagram. But yeah, I do want to do a reading vlog on this one. I don't really need to tell you anything else about it apart from it's Gossip Girl in London, so yeah. Okay, we have 6 books left. Okay, we have If We Were Villains by ML Rio, because is it really an autumn TBR if we didn't have one of the top like 5 dark academia books? I did Secret History last year, and I'm going to do If We're Villains this year. I don't really like reading more than one big dark academia title a year, purely because they can come across quite similar, but I absolutely love that genre. So I think when I stick to just one a year, really, it just makes me appreciate it as it is, because I feel like if I read this and then went into like, I don't know, The Secret History or The Ninth House, something like that, I probably wouldn't appreciate it, you know, because I'd be comparing them constantly. So this is the dark academia book we will be going for this autumn. Okay, now we have one non-fiction, because that's just how I read these days. We have Just Kids by Patti Smith. Everyone has talked about this, and I picked this up at a charity shop for like 50p. I just really wanted to read it, and I thought now would be the perfect time. Also, like, I can take like just really cute, deep Tumblr photos with it whilst I'm out and about in the autumn. So yeah. Right, the next 2 books I have are books 2 and 3 of a series. I think it's 2 and 3 anyway. Correct me if I am wrong. But we have, I don't know what order it goes. I think it goes Unravel Me and then Ignite Me, but this is the Shatter Me series by Tahera Mafi. I opted not to go for the novellas just because the first one didn't really sell it to me that much. This is a dystopian series. It's giving love triangle. It's actually giving Hunger Games to me, but more like steamy, because I don't remember some of the steamier scenes in the first book being like something I would have read in Hunger Games. I don't know, maybe I just skipped through it because I was a child. But yeah, let's carry on with the series. This one I am just so keen to read, because it has been a long time coming, but it is The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. First of all, this cover is probably one of my favorite paperback covers that I've got in my collection. I just love this, and I want to collect this specific editions of books. Anyway, babbling on. So this follows a family, I think in like the suburbs, where there's a bunch of daughters and they all themselves, and we don't know why, and that's all I know about it. So I am very intrigued to read this. And then last but not least, guys, we have Olivia Blake's, oh my god, Olivia Blake's Alone with You in the Ether. First of all, a little commotion for the sprayed edges that, oh, just look at it. Look at this cover. perfect. So I believe the main characters in here do have a romance going on between them, but it's not your stereotypical romance. I think they both suffer with some sort of, I don't know, and they basically find their way to each other, and that's it. But the only thing I know from this is that everybody seems to say that this is such a beautifully written book. And Olivia Blake, I've never read any of her books, so I am very, very intrigued to see why this has been hyped so much. So yeah. Right guys, those are all of the books on my autumn TBR for this year. I think I can get through at least 10 of them, right? There's already a few books where I'm like, I don't know if I want to read you. I know that sounds so bad, but like, I just don't know how I feel about Good Girl's Guide to Murder. But so many people rave on about it, so obviously I must be missing something, right? I think my next reads will be Fourth Wing, My Government Means to Kill Me, and probably The Bell Jar or Virgin Suicides, one of those. I'm feeling a little bit like that. But anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.